So we need to take a second and talk about 1047. Summer Games Fest happened on June 6th, and after 2 hours in the near last presentation, 1047 co-founder walked on stage with a MAGA adjacent hat and a BFB and proceeded to say these fateful words.
Hey guys, I'm Ian Prue, the co-founder of 1047 Games. Why? Because I grew up playing Halo, and I'm tired of playing the same Call of Duty every year, and I wish we could have Titanfall 3. With Splitgate 2, we asked ourselves, how would we take portals to the next level? What if you could portal to entirely different worlds? So we combined the action, movement, and gunplay of arena shooters with the scale and intensity of something much bigger. Splitgate Battle Royale launches free right now, and it's fucking awesome.
To say that this statement and apparel sparked controversy would be an understatement, and the actions that Ian and the team at 1047 took to mitigate this controversy was like throwing a bucket of water onto an electrical fire. So let's get into what made so many players, including myself, quit playing and stop supporting 1047 as a whole. So what even was so controversial about what Ian said here? Why is the hat he wore a problem? Why are players so angry about a battle royale? On a surface level, nothing Ian necessarily said at the panel was controversial on its own. I actually agree with him at first. I am tired of the predatory systems that Call of Duty uses routinely to milk their player base every single year. And hell yeah, we all want Titanfall 3. So what have you guys been cooking up that could bring some solace to the fact that we're never getting either of those things?
Battle Royale.
Are you guys fucking serious? Did you not just tweet 3 days ago, quote, think bigger than a campaign, and this is what you meant? And wait, hold on, what the fuck is that hat? Now, I never really had the intention to get too political on this channel, but I'm never not gonna call out shit like this. I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't agree with his policies. I don't agree with black bagging protesters in the streets, and I don't agree with covering up reports on the income that the US makes on refugees from war-torn countries. And I definitely don't agree with making the director of the FDA a guy who thinks vaccines cause autism and had a brain worm die in his skull from a lack of sustenance, and the dozens of disgusting, vile policies and beliefs that the current right-wing party holds. And I don't think it's hard for a company who brought up the politics in the first place to then denounce an oversight and simply say, we don't align with any political party. But that's not what Ian did, and that's not what 1047 did. The big counter argument that I've seen for this hat being worn on stage is that it's just a hat, and Ian himself even coming on to make a statement that said this. I'm not here to apologize, but I am here to clarify. This is not a political statement. It is quite literally what it says, so take it at face value. The state of multiplayer FPS games is tragically stale. We hope to fix that whether you want Arena, Battle Royale, Onslaught, or Map Creator. We plan to support all 4 experiences equally. This complemented with a picture of the biggest shit-eating grin I have ever seen with the Make FPS Great Again hat on full display, seemingly proud of the negative attention he just brought to his once humble little dev studio. So why can we not take the hat at face value? Why go so far as to call the hat a dog whistle? Maybe he was genuinely so oblivious to the political context he actually thought he was just saying that he wanted to elevate the shooter market and make it great like it once was back in the glory days of Call of Duty. Because it happened in LA, in the same week of the LA ICE riots, in the state that borders your dev studio, during one of the most politically controversial time periods of our generation. Ian, you weren't oblivious to these things, and now you're trying to gaslight your audience into thinking that they're overreacting. All of this coming from the son of the dude who created Intuit, a multi-millionaire who created a company that actively lobbies against tax reform for Americans. So yes, I do think it goes a little bit deeper than a hat. And I think the way that they handled this afterwards was honestly pretty disgusting. And they know that they dog whistled a right-wing player base, because they were on their Twitter justifying it because Hideo Kojima wore a Make TV Great Again hat 8 years ago, and then continues to defend it in an IGN interview saying, I mean, I think we meant for it to be taken at face value, which is we're not happy with the state of FPS games. I, myself, as a gamer, my friends and I, we talk about how bored we are. We thought this was something that's been memed to death. Even 3 months ago, Hideo Kojima had a hat that said "Make TV Great Again." IGN threw in a little author's note that says, while this photo was reposted in March on Threads, the photo itself appears to be from 2017. From the most part, I can't even find anybody who had saw this photo previously, at least within Splitgate forums, so I'm wondering where he dug this up from, because I had never seen this previous to this entire controversy. He goes on to say, and his hat was red and there was no controversy there, so we talked about it and we thought, okay, maybe some people will take it the wrong way, but it's been memed to death and it kind of says what we feel, which is we want to just make an awesome game and we're not happy with the state of FPS. So your excuse for wearing a MAGA hat on stage was that it was memed to death, and that the guy who made the Metal Gear franchise and even claimed that Death Stranding was inspired by Trump and Brexit, and that Death Stranding was a message to lonely players who feel like they don't fit into society, wore one, so it's fine. Ian, to be frank, you do not get the Trump hat parody pass. I am sorry. You especially don't get that pass when your rollout looked oddly specific to a certain political campaign that happened in collaboration with the richest man in the world last year. And man, it's even harder to imagine that you didn't get this whole inspo from Elon when you were on your LinkedIn timeline slobbering this man grapefruit technique style before the release of Splitgate 2. But just after committing to your words and that you're not apologizing, you immediately got that fire under your ass from that pesky PR team, if you even have one, and those dirty liberal investors to go out there and apologize for being a dumbass to try to save face for one of the most disastrous launches this year with an apology.
Hey guys, it's Ian. You're probably tired of seeing my face by now,
We are.
but I promise this message is going to be a little bit different than the previous ones.
Oh, you mean the ones where you at least had the titanium nuts to stand your ground? Okay.
So I've got a lot of questions about what's up with the hat, why'd you wear it, what was the intent, and I want to start by explaining myself. It is really freaking hard as an independent studio to break through the noise. You go to these award shows. We saw it at TGA's. We had this great trailer, and there's 50 other great trailers, and
Oh my god, here we go with the crying about grabbing attention. First of all, you got a $100 million investment from Lightspeed Venture Partners. Was that not enough to allow you to advertise the game? And second of all, you already had the SGF panel. I live streamed that entire event. You can go watch the chat replay on YouTube. The only games people cared about during the entire stream was Silksong and you. Literally all you had to do was humble yourselves and present your art to speak for itself, although nothing was gonna save you from that absolute swamp ass battle royale reveal. And lastly, I find it to be a bullshit statement even if you didn't get that massive investor check. Why did Lethal Company become the most played game on Steam with no advertising? What about Repo? Let me ask you something. Did Five Nights at Freddy's, hear me out, the original one, have any advertising when it shattered the internet? These games got viral because they were different and they paved the way for new genres. They took an overdone formula and flipped it into something special. Almost like you did with Splitgate, but instead of letting the art speak for itself and putting your heads into the game to make it better and pushing more advertising and engaging with your community, you decided that wasn't enough and pushed for a publicity stunt. It's actually so disappointing.
didn't really have an impact. And so at our biggest stage, coming out of beta, we needed something to grab attention. And the honest truth is we tried to think of something and this is what we came up with.
So your idea of grabbing attention is knowingly wearing a politically controversial hat in the same city and week where protesters are being shot at with rubber bullets for trying to walk inside of their apartments for protesting against ICE raiding people's homes? Anything for those views though, right?
We did not intend for this to be taken in any political way whatsoever. And I'm not an idiot. Like, obviously I knew there would be some level of controversy. But we really saw this as a meme.
We didn't mean for this to be political, but I'm not dumb. I knew it was political, but I did it anyways. What kind of backwards ass logic is that?
that was kind of stating our truth, which is we do want to improve this genre. We are disappointed with the state of the genre. And so we took it as a meme that we thought would not be nearly as received the way it was, negatively received as the way it was. And so I want to apologize. And genuinely, you can pretend, you don't have to believe me.
I don't, Ian.
But the truth is I am sorry. And the reason I'm sorry is because of what this has done to the community.
Oh, is he gonna address the crazy right-wingers that have been threatening LGBT people and the questionable at best moderation in the Discord?
The most important thing to me right now is I want to have an amazing community. That is the reason that I built 1047. That's the reason I love my job, is because I wake up every day. I have friends in the community, Mikavelli, Tovar, all these great people who I play games with, who I get their feedback, I talk to them. I mean, these are the people who got us through the dark times. And I hate seeing division. And that's what I'm seeing right now on both sides. There's division in the community. And for that, I am truly sorry.
Nope. Just gonna blanket it, call it division, and then shout out a couple of the homies. Based.
And again, I'll reiterate, I do stand by the intent of this, which is the intent truly is, take it at face value. We do want to improve this genre. We do feel that the genre is in a bad state, and we want to make FPS games as amazing as possible.
Oof, looks like the PR department really cracked down on that great again suffix.
But I also understand that it's not just about intent, it's about impact. And the platform that we have had has had a negative impact, and for that I'm truly sorry.
Oh, wow. I'd actually like that statement if you listed any of your wrongs and then listed how you would actually fix them, but then that would expect a modicum of accountability.
Yeah, I mean, I wish things were different, and I appreciate all the feedback. That's all I got, guys.
Now, I am possibly one of the biggest Call of Duty haters there is out there, and I'm working on a script right now about how much damage Activision has done to that franchise and the FPS genre as a whole. So to be honest, at first I thought this tweet was pretty funny, until I learned that the dev that the official Splitgate Twitter was roasting was a fucking render artist. This dude doesn't make executive decisions for Call of Duty. He's a goddamn digital artist. That dude is one AI generated image from getting cut from the JV roster. And then you had the audacity to say that he swung first. Brother, you dissed his art on live television. You swung first. And your response to this in the interview was that everything is on me as CEO, but that wasn't my tweet. So now we'd rather shift blame to the unhinged social media guy that you apparently still haven't reined in, because I don't even think that's the best case of the Twitter page being unhinged. Like, how am I supposed to believe you're trying to curate an open and safe community when you're in this dude's replies? Oh, you don't know who this is? Let's watch this video real quick.
We're going to address the real reason why the Splitgate 2 CEO is receiving so much backlash. It ain't got nothing to do with the microtransactions. Yeah, he facing the real backlash despite what he said being the same thing we've been saying for years. The real reason why you getting attacked is because you're too straight, you're too white, and you're too male. The hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, do I even need to say anything about this? Hey, Ian, and all you guys over at 1047, do you think that your game is receiving backlash because you're too white and too straight or too male?
It's Pride Month, what? You getting up on stage and shit? Chest all poking out, arms all defined, looking fit. Have you lost your mind? Ain't no blue hair, no pink hair, no red hair in sight.
Oh my lord, are we still doing the blue hair liberal thing? Didn't that die in like 2018?
No nose piercing. What is wrong with you? Talking all masculine and shit. Ain't no masculinity here, nigga. It's over, nigga. You're canceled, nigga. I'm on the phone with Alyssa right now, nigga. Airbag. Nick Calandra, you're canceled. Paul Tassi, yeah, get ready for them articles, nigga. They coming. It's over. Lost your mind, bro. You canceled. You done.
So again, 1047, are you okay with the fact that you're co-signing shit like this on Twitter? The guy who religiously makes sexist comments? The pro-ICE guy? I thought we didn't want to make any more political suggestions. This is genuinely disgusting shit for anyone to support, let alone an entire company. And the blame shifting doesn't stop there. Wait till he gets called out for this. As if everything I've already listed wasn't enough, of course they needed a monetization controversy. $145 bundles, $34 portal skins, you know, the works. And then when the social media team did what they do best, pissing off everyone, Ian gets back on the camera to issue a statement. Hit it, Ian.
Hey guys, it's Ian. I'm here with my good pal Nick and co-founder. We're playing some Splitgate 2, of course. But wanted to give you an update on things. So first off, thanks everybody. We just crossed 2.5 million players, which is freaking awesome. We appreciate all the support. We also tripled our daily active users, especially on consoles, which has been awesome. So we really appreciate.
Hold on, I gotta make sure they don't think our game is dwindling or anything.
Our daily active users, especially on consoles, which has been awesome. So we really appreciate you guys. But wanted to start by explaining, obviously we put out a video, we slashed the prices yesterday, but I've had a lot of people ask me, like, how the hell did this happen in the first place? Like $80 bundle, like that's not the 1047 way. And I agree. So I thought I would just candidly tell you exactly what happened. So I'll start by saying,
it wasn't $80, it was $145, but okay.
And I agree. So I thought I would just candidly tell you exactly what happened. So I'll start by saying, no excuse, of course. Like, I should have been on this.
True, you should have.
Before I explain, like, we should have been on top of this. But what happened is the second I got off that stage, I called Derek, our lead game designer, and I said, Derek, like, did you know we had an $80 bundle? Like, this is news to me. Like, what the heck? Like, that makes no sense. And he didn't. And essentially what happened is our former head of monetization, who happened to come from Call of Duty, was with us for less than a year and was very aggressive on the pricing. And so actually prior to his departure, we actually originally had founders packs at 100.
Okay, here we go. More blame shifting. That's the 1047 way we all know and love.
Was with us for less than a year and was very aggressive on the pricing.
Firstly, this sounds so bullshit, because how in the world did you not check this before the beta release? And secondly, how comes there's always some Call of Duty boogeyman at fault? Nothing ever seems to be Ian's fault. Despite the fact that he's a co-founder, he literally refuses to fully take accountability for anything. This guy isn't genuinely sorry for anything. He's throwing his own devs under the bus for damage control. And when he was asked in the IGN interview how this could have happened without him noticing, he said, I was very focused on the beta. Brother, it was 15 days. That wasn't a beta, that was a soft launch. Here's his entire quote. We got through beta, we had other fires to attend to, so I was focused on servers and just trying to get us through that. I was not thinking at all about monetization because I was just like, we're not going to make any money. It doesn't matter if people can't play the game. And so that's where my head was at for the last 2 weeks, was like, we gotta just make sure this game is great, fix the servers, keep the lights on, fix the issues. Okay, we've made it barely, now we've gotta go launch this game. And then it was a kind of what the fuck moment, like, how did we not catch this? Your excuse for having ridiculously priced bundles was the fact that your servers fell apart for over 24 hours after the game's launch? What about all the time you had to check pricing before launch? It's just more blame shifting, and it's honestly tiring at this point. And finally, our chapter with Splitgate ends with the Reddit AMA that Ian hosted after all of the controversy so that he could try to be more direct and save face with the player base. Almost every single one of these comments that he responded to are either softballs or glazed the shit out of them, which I knew would happen, so about 15 minutes after the AMA goes live, I hop on to ask my own question. Is there any disapproval of the political message that the hat conveys? This is the only question right now that truly matters, and there's a lot of people who are refusing to play the game, including myself, who truly do love Splitgate due to your silence on this issue. And if you can't disavow an administration that's actively harming protesters within the same week you wear a parody hat, then I think a large amount of your players are ready to put down the controller. And after hours, and after getting 57 replies, the most replies in the entire AMA, I never got an answer. So I make an edit. The fact that I have to post some post-question glazing and filler in between to leave you room to dodge a question a large majority of your player base wants an answer to is ridiculous. Your silence on this issue speaks volumes, and I know I'm not the only longtime fan who's absolutely devastated that things turned out this way. Whether intentionally or not, you managed to dog whistle players who are actively homophobic, transphobic, and racist into an under-moderated community and refuse to denounce those political views. The players and your developers are owed an apology that doesn't shift blame or undermine the people trying to support you. Literally all it would take is a "we don't support any political party's agenda and we apologize if our actions have made you feel that way." Why is that so hard? And with all that being said, that's all I've got. And if you're bored and want some people to hang out with, we have an actually safe Discord that you can come chill in. We have community events like one-off nights where you guys can make suggestions for games you want to see for stream and vote for the next game we play. I'll throw this up, so pause and read if you're interested. Also, throw a sub or whatever if you like the video, and I'll see you guys on stream later.